What is up, everyone? I'm Demario. Welcome to Demario's World. This is something new I'm actually going to be presenting out right now. I have this podcast that I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do for a while, and Spirit kind of gave me the go ahead to just start it and kind of just mature it out. So let's get started. Mending Fences International is what it's called. This first introduction of it. Mending Fences is pretty much a conversation podcast where we talk about political things, social dynamics, spirituality, and more. You know what I'm saying? More that's kind of happening within our world and kind of our worldview on it to hopefully bring some type of understanding and some type of bridging the gap between what we think something is versus what it really is and how we can find some type of middle ground within it. And I have so many different ideas to grow it out and to do everything that I really want to do with it. But right now, we're at the beginning stages, so just kind of go on the journey with me. So right now, the first topic I really want to talk about for a moment is the conversation of alpha men and beta men. Because I always online see so much about, what's the alphas and the betas and all this different stuff and people's opinions and different things about it. So I begin to wonder, like, okay, so what is the actual definition of this stuff? Like, what is this really about? You know what I'm saying? So I'm now looking on. I have my computer right here, my little setup right here, and I'm gonna be answering pretty much the research that I've done on what is alpha men and beta men, and seeing like what is our global consensus about what this kind of is from people. You know what I'm saying? Who are real time writing out what this stuff is. So the question is, what is the meaning of alpha male and beta male? Alpha male and beta male. It is an attempt to divide men into two artificial categories. An alpha is a real man who obeys in a series of edicts that serve as a security blanket for his ego. A beta is every other man. Okay. Person. Okay, this is a personal situation. Uh, he said alpha male means an insecure boy who confuses being an asshole and pursuing a high volume dating strategy for being a real man. Okay, I haven't heard that type of opinion of that like on here before. Okay, real quick, let me go back to something else. I said both male personalities are popular for clear communication. Betas are more submissive. They are not good at decision making. They don't want to be involved in any kind of leadership position. Instead, he feels comfortable being a part of the team. The alpha male is born to be a leader. He has the traits to shoulder others' burdens and guide them through the worst situations. He understands others' strengths and weaknesses and can delegate tasks accordingly. Okay, now the first explanation was definitely more of a, just their own thought of, I believe, what a part of the consensus of kind of what is displayed as, which I was actually going to get to a little later, but it came first, so we're just going to go with it. Said, unlike alpha men, beta males are conflict avoidant. If anyone tries to fight an alpha man, he will never take the other person's heat. Instead, he will make them regret even trying to talk against him. Alpha men get pretty aggressive when they are questioned. They don't try to fight with others, but once they are provoked, it's hard to calm them down. They will debate enough to prove their point. This might be a great issue in their personal or professional life, but they can also protect themselves and their loved ones during the worst times. Alpha men are competitive compared to beta men. They may act ignorant sometimes, but beta males always respect others. Alpha men don't care about others' opinions. Unlike beta males get disturbed by others' rude comments. He blames himself when someone is discontent and tries to make things up to them. He gives too much importance to people instead of following his heart. He lets society choose right and wrong for him. He fails to live life to the fullest for this habit. Alpha men are the most desired by women. Beta men often get friend zoned. Okay. Compared to alpha men, beta men's performance is often mediocre. He always plans everything down to every nook. Oh, that's the alpha. The alpha always plans everything down to every nook and cranny before working on anything new. There's always lots of backup. But a beta male only gives an average performance. His skills are lacking and he isn't that driven to bring a change. Okay. Okay, that was one thing. Now and then go back to the alpha thing I had the first time. Let me see. What is the difference between an alpha male and a beta male? We don't have alpha males in the same way that gorillas do because our social structures are more complex than other mammals. The only people who believe that human males are divided into alpha and beta categories are those who are uneducated in primatology and have also never systematically questioned their cultural assumptions. Cause see now, okay, I pretty much write. I'm pretty much this is how it kind of goes. I pretty much say what the consensus is, and I say what I feel about this. Cause this is what I feel. Cause even that last remark, that's kind of how I've always felt. It's like we always have, of course, this idea of like the animal kingdom being like the archetype to how kind of humans move. But it's like first off, I would say are a little more evolved because we do have a lot of different complexities to us that a lot of people in animal kingdom kind of don't have. It's like we know generally, say for instance, no judgment, but generally animals have sex like outside. We don't. That's not really like advertised or like that's like kind of somewhat frowned upon regardless, you know, say of your own kind of thing. It's like certain things that we as humans kind of know how to do that like animals don't, right? You know, so they just kind of, you know, so that's just innately in their nature. Where with us, it's kind of like we know to do certain things, especially with rules, with education, with knowing kind of how to read. Not to say that animals don't, because again, I know they're evolving in their own space, but we have a different kind of consciousness. So that was always my thing, to put anybody into alpha and beta in that same category is kind of a little off to me. It very much so. And even then, I think the conversation is, I'm going to read this part too, people don't realize that we always hear alpha and beta male, but like there's other categories that are actually a part of that same conversation that, and I always wonder why isn't the other ones part of the same category as well. Let me give you an example. So basically, alpha males, starting from alpha and beta, alpha males are confident and they're their own man. You do your own thing and have complete confidence in everything you do. You have your self-doubts, but you don't let it cloud your judgment and logic. You are liked by almost everyone, and you just have an easy charm and a swagger about your presence. Women are drawn to your charisma and presence. You enjoy being social and have lots of people around. You are a natural leader. Okay, beta male. You are kind of shy and introverted and not very confident in yourself. You are constantly plagued by insecurities and self-doubts, and you can never commit to anything in the fear that you will fail in it. You are somewhat liked by people, but they tend to look at you rather condescendingly, and women tend to friend zone you. You are nervous around other people in social situations because you're always afraid that people are judging you. You are a boring follower. Okay. Omega male. Omega males, you are the polar opposite of the alpha male, but in a good way. Like the alpha male, you are confident, intelligent, and have a sense of charisma about you. But unlike the alpha male, you are completely your own person. You do not need anyone, and you can even be emotionally distant due to your complete self-possession. You trust few people and foster even fewer intimate relationships. Omegas do not care for leadership by others, as they are perfectly capable of leading themselves. Okay, that's the omega male. Then there's the gamma male. You are sort of the invisible guy. There's nothing really spectacular about you. You are not a beta, but neither are you an alpha. Your personality and presence usually blends in with the rest of the room, and you're just sort of there. People like you just fine, and you usually don't have too much trouble with girls, but all the same, there is nothing particularly memorable or remarkable about you. You are not a born leader, not an inherent follower, although you can take on these tasks depending on the situation. Then we have the Sigma male. You are a manipulative mastermind. You are a spider waiting to lay your trap. You possess a cunning, intuitive mind and can sway people to your will. You don't have the casual swagger of the alpha or the omega, but you do have a clever presence about you. And people tend to be both wary and respect you for that. You can often be even more powerful than the alpha or the omega male in social situations due to your ability to persuade and manipulate them. You are neither a follower or a leader, but rather a wild card. Okay, so now that we go down, that there's 3 other categories of characteristics or what have you. I always wonder, why is it that beta and alpha is always seen as like the top situation? Because even as I read the other ones, it's like a lot of them the other ones tend to intermingle, right? It's the complexity to it, because it's like you're not that, but you're that. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of go back and forth. And then also, to be honest and true, even the characteristics of the alpha, beta, omega, gamma, sigma, we put personal traits on them, but those are literally just frequencies on a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though these frequencies on a spectrum that we're personalizing and even trying to victimize people, and whether it's through alpha, beta, whatever, even saying, oh, alphas are all fucked up or betas are all this, it's like they're literally just frequencies that you kind of are on. You know what I'm saying? Based off kind of like what you've adopted through your experiences, right? And kind of what's kind of made you into the person that you are. That's kind of it. Like, it's not even like as deep as we make it out to be, in my opinion. It's like we kind of put more on it than what it's supposed to, because then it's like we say, but it's like there's like 5 categories, but we only name 2. Why do we only name 2? And then the 2 that we name, both are even villainized. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, even online, if you hear like, oh, if he says he's an alpha male, oh, that's just out of control. He's just a crazy, and then a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? Or the alpha males be like, oh yeah, I'm alpha. I tell these bitches what to do. You know what I'm saying? And then beta is always seen as like, oh, submissive and don't do nothing. But it's like, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like alpha and beta, to me, again, just comes down to what type of person that you are and how you kind of want to show up, because it's like the idea, because even online I oftentimes see, as a beta, you can't get to alpha. Because even as I'm reading this, I don't identify, if I had to identify as anything, I would say Sigma, just because I'm not either. You know, I don't really care like that. I just be kind of like, I speak my truth and let it be what it is. But with beta, it's like, I've read all these things, and it's like, I've seen situations where I've been like all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, because even the alpha is like, the alpha men is like, they make it either seem like you are alpha just from jumping, you can't grow. Like, if you're a beta, that's just where you're forever going to be. But I'm pretty sure alpha men have been rejected, and you've been friend zoned. A lot of them, a good majority of alpha men have been friend zoned, and it's like, oh well, what made you an alpha then? You know what I'm saying? And to me, it'd be like more or less like how you responded to it. But at the same time, even with alpha, you may not care so much what people think, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be kind of disrespectful to kind of like the entirety of like a situation. That don't, to me, make you alpha necessarily. It makes you rude as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? That's just like, and it's cool if you that. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I'm saying? The people who want to be around you in that manner. And then even with alpha males, and it says that they're like the ones that everyone like. Is it that alpha men are always liked, or is it because people kind of fear them? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, is that the idea that as alpha men you're supposed to be feared by people? So how would you feel being an alpha man in front of all these people who are around you, and being like, real shit, if you go into the core of themselves, they don't really like you, but they kind of just want you for whatever kind of you got, and they kind of just fear not being connected to you. I know for me, I would be like, I wouldn't want them around. I'd be like, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really thrive on those circumstances. Like, that's like some weird kind of energy to me. And even when I think about but I also don't think that alpha men, you know what I'm saying, necessarily, it should be a problem with standing true on who you are and what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't have it shouldn't be a problem with whatever that is. But to me, I think it's more about how you go about it. Because even with the alpha men, the reason why I think alpha men even get a bad rap is because of how judgmental they really are, and how as much as they even say beta men are so mindful of other people, I would argue the alpha men, how this distributed, because I don't even think alpha male in the way I think of alpha men is what's distributed out into the world as alpha men. We kind of see alpha men just kind of being belligerent. I don't really think real alpha men are belligerent. I think they just kind of stand on what they feel, and it kind of just like, that's just kind of what it is. But at the same time, there is still some type of care with them, because who wants to be around somebody who don't really give a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like, that don't feel good to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then also, like, you around someone who don't give a fuck, what makes you think that someone's gonna give a fuck about you in your, you know what I'm saying, in the reflection of dealing with people? But then the other thing with alpha men to me is that I never really hear people who are beta men, I don't ever hear them talk about alpha men. Like, I don't ever hear them be like, oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you need to get with the betas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, I don't ever hear nobody say that. You know what I'm saying? I always just hear the alphas being like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all beta need to sit your asses down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're feminine men, whatever. And it's like, even then, it's like, even the personalities that we hold, but then it's the idea that we can't change, you can't evolve in a lot of people's cases. Because some people can, so like, you can be a beta and go from an alpha, but a lot of times it's based off, to me, our experiences. It's based off of kind of what we what we draw from our experiences that really determines our personalities, how we kind of show up, and how we receive the information in which we show up as we want to in the world. So I just feel like I've seen myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had low self confidence at times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say I'm beta. You know what I'm saying? I'm caring. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean I'm beta. There's even times, like, a lot of people will even say I'm hard to sway at things. Just I can be stubborn and be like, nah, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that just mean I'm alpha? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not necessarily the loudest one in the room. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean I'm the quietest one either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like real shit from my standpoint and just researching and just seeing what these different personalities are. We just personalize these things because the funny thing is that I was going to say this earlier before I end this, alpha men and beta men to me are always used to victimize people, right? In the same way that we say women are masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, if you're a woman, you're masculine, or you're this. It's like it's even though she may have just an ambitious personality. You know what I'm saying? Because in the world and society in which women are not always taught to be ambitious, you know what I'm saying, about their dreams, about being the home givers, because it's like the nurturers and shit it's supposed to be. Oftentimes, them being wanting to go to work, wanting to make an impact in the world is always looked down upon, and then it's like, oh, they're not women enough, whatever. But it's like alpha men and beta men, it's like this idea that we personalize these things off of a frequency that don't really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I don't even care, because it's literally just like, are you on a high frequency or a low frequency? Are you in a middle frequency? And it's not even like, oh, that's bad to be a low or a high, but we just personalize it to me so much more than what we should. I think that we're more complex. Even when one of the definitions is like, nah, like, we can't categorize ourselves even in the animal kingdom because we have more to offer than just like, you know what I'm saying, like being out in the forest necessarily, and kind of just not really knowing how to speak, you know what I'm saying, and communicate with one another like in a humanistic way. Like, it's so much more to us than just these generalizations that we kind of put out here to justify why we fall back. You know what I'm saying? We fall back or we go forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a matter of kind of who you are and what you kind of got going on to me. Actually, I would like to even get more deeper and even later on want to have some more conversations with people about their even reaction and response to alphas and betas. Because at the same time, it's like, I don't always understand like the idea, because like the alpha male is a social creature, but beta men like to be reserved. So if you are someone who is a more reserved person, like, would that just mean, does that just mean you're beta? You know what I'm saying? You just be chilling and be like, I'm observant. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even out here like that. I'm just really observant of my surroundings, and be like, oh, you're not talkative enough. You know what I'm saying? So you're beta. And then my thing is always, after you learn, okay, someone can be beta, cool, what have you. After that, treating them piss poor. Or even alpha, after you learn someone's alpha and you just mark them like, oh, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, what is that? What? That just means that you don't fuck with them like that, but that don't mean that they just, like, really, like, are, like, you know what I'm saying? They aren't worthy of respect. You know what I'm saying? That's their life. That's their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? That's who they are. That's where they are at that point when you met them. You know what I'm saying? But these kind of generalizations that I tend to see regarding alphas and betas and all that whole situation be a little rough, especially when there's other categories that could be put in the front. It's kind of like how, like, the voting process, like, we vote for Democrats and Republicans, and then we always hear, oh, Democrats and Republicans, like, they're the only ones who's going to win, right? But then it'd be like, well, we do have libertarians, well, we do have other parties, and no one votes for them. You know, it's like, oh, but they're not going to vote for it just because that's the general consensus that you vote for Democrat and Republican. Maybe if we do acknowledge the other ones, maybe, you know what I'm saying, it could be a bigger connection, because I bet you not every alpha, all of them are just the same as if we're all kind of just robots. Like, all alphas are like this. It's like, it's based off kind of whatever you got going on, because it's still, to me, risking and learning and going through the processes of life. You know what I'm saying? But it is, to me, the best way you can describe these different characteristics is, as situations occur, how do you deal with whatever you're dealing with? You know what I'm saying? How do you kind of go about it in whatever way? And I mean, whatever way you do is whatever you do. Like I say, if you watch this channel, I'm into astrology. So I've learned that it really do be based off kind of your personality and what you kind of came in with, what you kind of absorbed from your surroundings. And I don't think that should be wrong of you. If alpha males need to learn how to listen more, because again, maybe in the previous incarnations, alpha males were a certain way, but what if alpha men are called to listen more? Because obviously, to me, a lot of them aren't getting the love they really want. For real, for real. They're getting probably submissive women, but at the end of the day, it'd be some kind of weird manipulative shit going on behind those situations too, as you later on see in a lot of different relationships. And the beta men may need to speak up on their own situation if they feel that's what they really need to do. If they happy with their life, then they happy with their life. But at the same time, being able to respect everybody's path in which they're unraveling, to me, is the best way to go about it. Like I said, there's other categories. So just, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, even when we go into women and you know, it's different things, that we all kind of have different things going on. But I don't also think that we got to be prejudged about it, you know what I'm saying, necessarily in a negative kind of connotation. I hope you enjoyed that little breakdown. Like I said, this is my first time really opening up doing this, so it's definitely going to be different as I continue to do this moving forward, and more structurally. But I just want to try something new. So I hope you enjoyed that talk. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you have any thoughts, you know what I'm saying, it's all positive vibes, all good energy. You know what I'm saying, if you have an opinion, I mean, you have an opinion. I say what I say and feel how I feel, and I, you know what I'm saying, work to learn to the best of my ability as I keep going on this thing we call life. So I hope you all have a great day. I will be talking to you all soon. Peace.